94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city. Juan Castillo with you. Of course, this is one-on-one special edition of the Electric Drum. And it is my pleasure to have with me Arnie Cary. He is with the Habitat for Humanity of Greater New Haven, also the Sleeping Giant Build. And as you know, Habitat for Humanity basically builds homes for folks that need homes, you know, and they build them for free. And they offer these homes to folks. And of course, you've heard all about it. And they're about to build their 13th home, from what I know. How you doing, Arnie?
I'm doing great, and I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us about the organization and how you've been involved.
All right. Basically, Habitat of Greater New Haven is one of a number of affiliates across the world that do habitat. And Sleeping Giant Build is what's called a community build of that organization. So basically, we have to provide funds and volunteers, and Habitat of Greater New Haven finds us a property. They're kind of our administrative arm. A little bit about Habitat. Habitat actually does not build homes for free.
Okay.
And that's part of kind of why I'm so enthusiastic about Habitat. I kind of like to say it's a hand up, not a handout.
Nice.
And basically what that means is that the people that we build houses for, we actually build houses with. They have to put in a number of hours building their own home. They actually, if they're accepted as a Habitat family, they have to put in 400 hours. So basically that's not all on their house. They have to provide a service for somebody else who's having their home built as a Habitat home. So nice. They start out with a number of hours doing that, and then they finish up their 400 hours on their own house. They actually end up, we have a lot of volunteer labor. Most of it is volunteer labor, very well professionally guided, however. And we donate, as Sleeping Giant Build, part of Habitat of Greater New Haven, we donate a reasonable amount, about half of the cost of the property and the home. The other half, Habitat matches. However, when the home is built, the new family then has a low cost, no interest mortgage that they pay over 25 years. This turns out to be a reasonably small amount per month, even if you add insurance and taxes. Mm-hmm. And you're actually paying quite a bit less than you would for a rental of a three-family apartment.
Right, that's fantastic. Yeah. And how many homes have you guys built?
Well, the Sleeping Giant Build has built 12, but Habitat of Greater New Haven, and there is another community build, and then they build, Habitat of Greater New Haven builds a number of homes on their own through Yale and through a number of other organizations that sponsor homes. But they have built, since 1986, they've built way over 100 homes. We've built, awesome. We're working on our 12th home now.
That is awesome. And so how long have you been involved? And do you get out there and grab the hammer?
Actually, I am going out tomorrow morning and going to spend the day building a house.
Awesome.
I'm really excited about it. The reason I got involved is that my daughter, who went to college and got her English major, ended up being a builder of homes. Don't ask me how that all happened. That's another story. But she ended up as a home builder and volunteered for Habitat, and eventually was hired by Habitat as the construction coordinator, which is the actual professional builder that's on each site that kind of figures out what the volunteers can do and what they can't do, and finds out the best course of action on a given day for all the volunteers. Some are very, very involved and able. Others have never swung a hammer before in their lives, but there's a job for everybody. Nice. And it's a wonderful time. And we're working with the homeowner, which is a very special part of this whole thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how do you choose the folks that you're going to build a house for?
Okay. Every year, Habitat of Greater New Haven has a get-together of families that are interested, and more often than not, there are way over 100 families that congregate to find out if they are, if they're, if they qualify to be a part of this. Generally, out of 100, about half of them qualify. And to qualify, there are basically three things. One is that you have to have a need. So there has to definitely be a need where the living space you're in now is either dangerous physically or medically or whatever, in a dangerous neighborhood, whatever, or is definitely inadequate for your family.
Right.
So this need. Number two is the monetary part. You have to be between 30 and 60% of the mean income in the New Haven area. So your family has to be generating that, because in the end, you're going to end up having to pay a small mortgage. You have to have good credit. And the last and probably a big part of this, when the committee gets together to figure out how many of these 100, now 50, are going to, become qualified as a family, you have to indicate that you want to do this, that you want to put in the hours, the 400 hours, and you want to take the classes that it takes to learn how to be a homeowner, because most of these families have never owned a home. And that's right. Part of it too, is that they really have never owned a home or haven't owned property over the last 3 years.
Right. That's fantastic. So obviously, in order to be able to get this done, you guys do a series of fundraisers all year.
Yes.
To make sure that happens. And you're going to be having some this fall. And I got some information here, and it's going to be Paint the Night Away. Okay. And folks are going to be able to join Sleeping Giant Bill and Habitat for Humanity New Haven for a virtual paint night. And it's going to be from 7 to 9:30 on Zoom.
Yep.
You can register at bit.ly/SGB. Now, I know a lot of folks probably can't write that down. So I'm going to give you my number, 203-562-9430, and I can help, 203-562-9430. And the first one is going to be September 19th. It's going to be called On the Trail, sponsored by Daniello's Amity Bike, which actually, when I used to ride a bike, I used to go over there all the time and get my bike fixed. So I know them very, very well. It's great what they're doing for the community. And then on Saturday, October 10th, is going to be one. It's going to be called Home Sweet Home, sponsored by Caldwell Banker, Realty Chambron, and the Real Estate Group. Then there's going to be Gorgeous Grapes on Saturday, November 14th, sponsored by Ardasso LLC. And you can call 203-562-9430. We can give you all the information. The price will include painting supplies. And if you haven't been to one of these paint nights, I did one. I thought I couldn't paint. And the person who was working with us, my painting came out pretty good. As a matter of fact, I've hung up my painting. How about that? Right?
All
Of
right.
course, in my office. but this is going to be some great events. You know, Arnie, are you gonna do some painting, Arnie?
I am, and my wife is. She loves to paint. I can maybe do stick figures, but I'm going to give it a try. And yeah, in this day and age, I'm just so impressed by what my events committee came up with. I think this is a wonderful way to kind of be at home, but actually be able to support us. You know, we have these 3 nights, and the more nights you sign up for, register for, the less it costs for each of those nights. And each of those nights are sponsored by a different entity. You know, we have a bike shop, we have a real estate group, we have a wine shop. And so each of those nights will, as I understand it, will be geared to doing something relative to bikes or a home or some wine. I think probably the grapes are probably going to be featured in that.
Yes, yes. And also the first 40 paid reservations receive a $25 gift certificate generously donated by Veron Rondo Osteria Italian restaurant in Cheshire. Great restaurant. I tell you, go over there but I love Italian food anyway. So I love food, period. But this is a great restaurant, and big ups to them for offering this too.
Yeah, it's a great restaurant, and there's plenty of outside. They have a very, very nice outside area to, you know, for people that are concerned about gathering inside. They do have a nice outside area.
Right. Well, listen, Arnie, thank you so much for coming on. This is a great event, and I want to, you know, just make sure that my whole audience, you know, if you want to help someone that needs a new home, please, this is a way for you to get involved, you know, and that's the other question I wanted to ask you. Like, if anybody wants to get involved in helping build a house, right? You guys take on volunteers too, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so how do they get in contact with you guys for that?
Well, they can either go to sleepinggiantbuild.org. We're not building right this minute. We probably will be in another month.
Right.
The build I'm going to be on tomorrow is Habitat of Greater New Haven build. We, you know, because of COVID, we haven't done a lot of building. Things have been a little slower, but we're definitely back at this point. And
awesome.
And my group wants to, you know, at least get warmed up.
That's great. That's fantastic.
So you can either get a hold of sleepinggiantbuild.org, or you can get a hold of Habitat of Greater New Haven whatever. But just put in, because they have bills going on all the time.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is Juan Castillo. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Arnie. And these are some great events, and you know, you guys do great work. And I mean, what a great thing to do, to be able to help someone to get a new home. But most important, also, I mean, it helps people just get really motivated to get their credit right, to make sure that they can get a mortgage, that they understand what it takes to own a home and keep it, you know. And that's really, you know, what's great about this thing. It's very holistic. I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, owning a home is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of us take it for granted, but it is a very big deal, and it's kind of a little step into security and you're building equity. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing.
Great. Well, Arnie, thank you so much, and we're going to continue to offer you know, our help in promoting these 3 great events. Thank you again. This is Juan Castillo on a very special edition of Electric Drum right here on 94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city.